Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody to T&T, and welcome to my friend Cassidy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today, Owen.
So let's just start out by, for everybody who doesn't know already, who are you, Cassidy? What do you do? And yeah, anything like that.
Sure. Hello, sweet friends. I'm Cassidy Bowker. On Instagram, I am Soul Scene Healing, and really that sums my offerings up in a nutshell. I just simply want everyone and invite everyone to come as they are, to breathe, to be, and to allow their soul to be seen. And so it is my honor, privilege, and gift to hold a neutral container in space in the healing modalities that I do support, which are breathwork, and also cacao ceremony, yoga, and beyond. I, for a long period of time, was facilitating holding space for prenatal and postpartum sort of educational courses and supporting the motherhood transition. So in my everyday life and my main curriculum here as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, and daughter, I'm able to truly support from a place of compassionate witnessing and deep listening.
Wonderful. And what kind of tea are you drinking today?
So today I'm drinking a ginger tea, and I noticed I was looking at this blend. It has a little bit of lemongrass in it as well, and some ginger, lemongrass, lemon, and it's really, really lovely. I don't even often sit with tea, Owen, so thank you for this, because I daily sit with cacao.
Yeah, cacao and chocolate is just love it so much. But tea has it's very spiritual for me, because I have such a strong connection with past lives in Asia, in China, in Japan specifically. And yeah, my wife is British, so being in a British family brought me deeper into the realm of tea. And I have a few friends who have gone to China and come back with certain special rare teas. And my uncle Paul, who worked as a head chef for P.F. Chang's for a long time, was very interested in exotic teas. So I've really learned to use it as a medicine. And my grandma actually told me that her grandfather, that my middle name Theodore was named after, he was a doctor, but that was a bit before the real kind of capitalist Western medical system was fully implemented. And she told me that he always said, oh, he doesn't really like tea, but he drank tea. So my grandma was like, why do you drink tea if you don't like it? And he said, tea is medicine. And so I have that within me. I have his herbal tea medicine wisdom, except I find a bit more joy in it. And he's one of my ancestors looking after me, probably laughing with a new perspective now. But yeah, I take it in a new wave, I think, at this point in my life. And this talk today is going to be about emotional energy and having a strong emotional connection with something is I was going to say simple, but it's really profound. Herbology and different tea medicine and plant science is so profound how it can influence our emotional state. And recently with Sacred Sons, I did the Omega Convergence, and I completely am blanking out on his name, but I'll tag him below because I know his Instagram name. But he led this wonderful, awesome tea ceremony and tea tent, and he had all these organic herbs and teas, and that was really he taught us to sit with the tea with the senses and look at the tea, smell the tea, even listen to the tea. And in that way of honoring the tea more, you're really honoring the water element and the reflection of yourself, really honoring that time and space you're taking to sit with tea. So thank you so much for joining and being here. And I would love for you to share with us a bit about how you feel about emotional energy. Let's just say that.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for all that you shared, Owen. And I would just also like to add on and share that I can relate and resonate to what you're sharing about sitting with the tea, you know, looking into the tea, allowing for that sensory journey, connecting, talking with, and noticing the reflection that is there. And this is my relationship with cacao. So, you know, again, this is a sacred plant medicine, just as is the tea, the different tea leaves that you're working with. They're all plant medicines, plant consciousness. I really appreciated your one of your last episodes with Jack. I thought that was, you know, very brilliant, and I could feel into his energy too as he was sharing. Or as you were sharing the story about noticing Jack and the plants like communicating and loving Jack's energy. I found that to be really sweet. So thank you for sharing all of that. Emotional energy is, like you said, it's something so simple and yet not. I think it's multifaceted. I think there are many different levels, maybe planes of experience within emotional energy, and I think also they can be two different things if you're breaking them down: emotion, and then energy, and then emotional energy. So maybe there's even like a crossbreed there, in all of the infinite possibilities of different combinations, depending on the emotion that you are assigning to, right? And so maybe let me take a pause here and zoom out for a second. And first, I invite us to think about emotion. So an emotion that could surface and come up is something that's loud, could be something like anger, right? An emotion that could come up and surface could be something, maybe you're feeling resentment, anger, sadness. Maybe you're feeling an immense joy or passion, whatever it is that's moving you, happiness. And so I think that there are some types of foundational feelings that we are born with. However, we are not born with, and this is, you know, scientific studies have shown, we're not born with emotional circuits. We're not born with these emotions. These emotions are basically predictions based off of past patterns. So, for example, there is a TED Talk that absolutely changed my life. Years ago, or maybe it was a year ago, actually, I listened to this TED Talk, and the woman's name is Lisa Fieldman Barrett, and her TED Talk is on how we are not at the mercy of our emotions, and that is why, as she goes on to explain, because we're not born with emotions. They are a result of predictions of the brain. So the cells in the brain are constantly working to put together pieces of this puzzle that we're experiencing right here, right now. And so, in a way, do you have any experience with A Course in Miracles?
Yes, it came into my life, that book, a few times. I had it, gave it away, and then one of my best friends, Alton, who I'll tag down below, he really, really loves that book and recommended that book strongly.
So in A Course in Miracles, in my own words, A Course in Miracles is unwinding the mess of the mind. So our mind is very easily influenced by external factors. And in the first couple of lessons, there's a lesson every day for 365 days to help unwind the mess of the mind and return to love. One of the first couple of lessons there is, I see only the past. I see only the past. basically goes on to explain that nothing I see means everything, that I assign the meaning to everything that I see. So therefore, I don't really understand anything that I see. So we experience things that are triggers in life. And they are triggers. You know, someone could walk into the room and there could be an aspect about that person that is triggering an emotion within me. That emotion is not natural and innate to me. That emotion is based off of a past experience. So there's almost like a neural pathway that had been carved. However, that anger or fear or anxiety, whatever that is that I'm experiencing because of that person or entering a specific setting, is a choice in a sense. And it could be a subconscious type of choice that I have, again, been conditioned to choose or to see or to believe is in existence. I'll give you another example, and this is one that stands out to me with that particular TED Talk that changed my life. She gives the example of when you walk into a bakery, and imagine yourself walking into a bakery right now and you smell the scent of chocolate chip cookies or whatever it is, some sweet treat that you really love and enjoy. And that sweet treat and that smell already is engaging the senses. You're also on an emotional journey here. You're kind of excited, and the brain is now creating these chemicals, right? Our hormones are our chemical messengers, and there's communication throughout all of our neurotransmitters. And now the stomach starts churning because you're preparing to eat. You're being supported by that scent, by all of this sensory experience that's going on to cue your body to eat, to cue the stomach churning sensation. Now, put yourself in the setting of a hospital. So now you are in a hospital setting and you are anticipating some test results that maybe are quite heavy, that you've been a little bit worried about. And in a hospital setting, you might already, because of, again, the sensory experience that is happening there, be experiencing the same stomach churning, that same stomach churning. However, it's made manifest within the brain as a different emotion. It's not like this very pleasant, ooh, yummy, and this is exciting stomach churning. It's almost anxious stomach churning. And so now you're labeling that experience as anxiety. So she goes to share that what can we do in those times of these different emotions that we are experiencing that are a product of the brain predicting what we need to do next. These predictions in the form of emotions are meant to serve us. It is primal. These are your primal instincts. They're meant to serve you, to motivate you toward an action. And so you can communicate with your energy. You can communicate with those butterflies with that stomach churning sensation, and ask your butterflies, because they're within you. This is within your body. I'm not denying that the sensations are real. The sensations are real. I'm just saying that the labeled emotion is a choice. So within your body, you can put your butterflies into formation. And that statement, that you can choose to put your butterflies into formation, is what changed my life. So going into and experiencing, and when I notice different emotional states coming up, particularly and specifically the heavy ones, the loud ones, I start talking to myself. So this is the way that I have now decided to and chose to treat my emotional states. Again, the heavy ones. I say, hey, energy. Hey, anxious energy, I feel you surfacing. I am sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I forgive myself. You're not anxious energy. You are simply energy, and you are here to serve me. Thank you. Thank you for being here to serve me. I am only here to be truly helpful. I am here to serve my highest good and purpose, and thus the highest good and purpose of all beings, all love. And so today I will put you to use. I'm literally treating my energy like a child. I will put you to use. I hear you. You want to be seen? I see you. Today, I'm going to go and teach yoga. Okay. So we're going to work together. I need you. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. Let's co create. And immediately, my cells who have ears, my cells are listening. And the entire sensation in my body that is vibrating, that emotional energetic state, all of a sudden takes this breath of fresh air and I feel a shift. The first time I applied this, I felt a shift and I cried. I started crying because I understood it differently. And so we are able to now then, what Lisa Feldman Barrett offers at the end of her TED Talk is basically with this knowledge now that we aren't born with these emotional circuits, with this knowledge now comes great responsibility. Because now you understand that to an extent, you are in choice of your emotions. So what are you going to do with them? So today, be intentional, be aware of every action, observe, right? Take a moment to maybe process, move a little bit slower so that you can set yourself up for experience, set yourself up for maybe new patterns of thought that will then assist you tomorrow in the prediction of whatever energetic state you're going to enter. Right. So maybe every day I sit in traffic and I'm stressed out and worried about my job. But today I'm going to choose to look at that a little bit different. Wow, I'm not just stressed out and anxious about sitting in traffic because I'm worried about my job and my huge workload that I'm falling behind on. Actually, I am so supported by this universe, so supported by source and my own physical vessel here, that there is this power surge that is flooding me to help me. Wow. So now in traffic, you turn on your music and you listen to your music and you sing and you allow some of that power surge to move. And this is how I treat even with my breathwork clients. We have energetic experiences, emotional energetic experiences that we store and stuff down, bottle up, compartmentalize, avoid, and they need to be moved, right? We need to move them and then thus see them. And in that moving and seeing, we can then transmute the label. It's like pulling back layer by layer, unveiling what they really are and how they can, if you choose, serve you.
Mm. Yeah, that quote you talked about also changed my life when you were talking about with the, I actually read that in a book somewhere. It was some either poetry book or some fantasy novel I was reading, and it said exactly that. It's okay to have butterflies in your stomach as long as they're flying information. And butterflies being a symbol of transformation, that's such a transformational technique to utilize your emotional energy in a way that benefits you. And there's two things that come to mind for me about this. One is a bit silly, but really practical, is something simple, right? Just take, for example, drinking tea. If I create consciously as an adult, create a neural connection with my own mind to tea and associate tea with all different things that I love. Okay, I love Eastern philosophy. I love meditation. I love plants. I love taking time to myself to sit down and relax and even share special moments with friends when I have friends and family around drinking tea with myself. Now, every time I go into a tea ceremony, even if I'm just having a cup of tea quickly before work, all of those positive emotions have been created within myself. And that can go into every single realm of mental and emotional connection. When you have a pattern that you don't like, right? So take, for example, what you're talking about, walking into a bakery and you smell cookies. For a lot of people, smelling cookies or baked bread is like, oh, family, heart, energy. But for people who have been abused in their family, for people who have maybe a really mean person that made cookies for them or made bread for them, it's stressful. Oh my gosh, I'm reliving this experience. But as either an old soul or a mature adult, emotional maturity, emotional responsibility says, okay, well, this experience, whatever it may be, whatever smell, sight, sound makes you feel something negative, you can transform that and create a new feeling around it. Say, for example, that person who their grandma always cursed at them and yelled at them and was really strict, and they smell cookies and now they go, oh, cookies, and then their whole day is ruined by cookies, which people have triggers like that all the time. It's not ridiculous, but it's real. I guarantee you there's more than 100 people that have that exact experience. The meditative way to transform that, the emotional alchemy to transform that, is say, okay, now you make yourself cookies and make a really special day about it. Invite your friends over, invite your loved ones over, and make it really special and intimate. And that can transform that person's emotional awareness. And to relate it to a more energetic, elemental perspective, say somebody almost drowned when they were a kid, and they go to the ocean, and every time they go to the ocean, they feel scared and cold, and all of these negative emotions, these negative energies, or wild chi, as Qigong masters would call it. For somebody like that, it comes back to the heart being the master of the mind, the soul being the master of the heart, coming into a deeper awareness of love. And that's where the journey starts. You have to start with the heart. If somebody has a trauma like that, taking that person into meditation with the ocean and bringing in all positive thoughts, feelings, and deep love towards the beauty, towards the sensations, towards the negative ions, helping de-stress their body physically. And those are the type of practical kind of Western mind meditative practices somebody can do to rearrange their mind and to make it more universal and applicable to everyone. Just begin with positive reflection. Just reflecting on even the worst of situations in your life. What did I learn from that? Have I become better from that? What aspects of that person that did that mean thing to me, or that culture that did something to this other culture, how can I change myself and become a better person through that? And that's my rant about the choice. And that's why I say that I tell my close loved ones quite frequently, I'm very opposed to excuses, because people at whatever level, even if you're completely ignorant of something, everybody has emotions, and your emotions tell you whether something is right or wrong.
Yes.
So I don't give any excuses. I give compassion and forgiveness and welcoming in learning experiences. But for me, there's no excuses, because everyone has emotional energy all the time. And your choice of how sensitive you allow yourself to be makes you a better conduit for emotions in terms of energetic morality. And something comes up for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, with the choice, and yes, and no excuses, is that it's not necessarily going to be easy, right? That choice is not going to be easy. It's not going to be, maybe, right? And I won't speak in hyperbole, but it might not be as easy as literally turning on or off on a light switch, or that particular emotion and making that shift. It will, and likely will, or probably will, take a great deal of effort and practice, right? And practice really is what I want to share, because practice doesn't have to be efforted. Practice can be as gentle as you would like it to be. So that I will correct. It just takes practice and trying it again and trying it again, and yeah, ultimately carving a new possibility within the brain, um, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. And sometimes it will be really gotta practice or gotta gently practice. And sometimes it is like that. You know, I've had situations where somebody's wisdom comes into my life. And I'm like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Click. And then something that used to stress me out is like, oh, wow, I feel great about that now. Yeah. Or something that I used to judge so hard is like, oh, I could see where that person is coming from. I may not agree with it, but I think that for me makes non-judgment such a high ideal of emotional energy, because you have 7+ billion people on the planet, and how many opinions they go through in the span of one day and how frequently they change. So if we're constantly living through our emotional body in terms of 7+ billion people's judgments and expectations, whoa, like you're not gonna have fun. Is not gonna be the norm for a person who lives in a world of judgment, expectations, social normities. There's a really beautiful Rumi quote that says something along the lines of half our livelihood is wasted in charming others. And this is something really speaks right to my emotional body, is that how much of my life have I just been like charming, like trying to make somebody else change their opinion of myself so I could get that little bit of dopamine or whatever my brain releases when somebody's like, oh yeah, I like that, and they choose an opinion that gives my brain the green light. And just giving that up about maybe 5-6 years ago, probably around the same time I started practicing and learning Reiki, is completely giving up judgment as much as we can. Just completely made, oh, I'm just flatline pretty happy. Like, there's not like this shaking that happens externally anymore. Like, oh, this person doesn't love me. Oh, this person thinks I'm stupid. Oh, it's like, push all that nonsense away, because not even the people thinking that like it, they're not even enjoying it. So when somebody's judging you or somebody's judging something or someone, they don't even feel good about it. Even good judgments, oh yeah, I love that, that's amazing, that instantly applies that the opposite sucks.
Right.
And now anyone who goes like, this person likes soft rock and really like Jack Johnson, John Mayer, very soft, gentle, and they love it so much. But then heavy metal, they hate it. And this person loves heavy metal and they hate that wussy Jack Johnson music. There's like juggling of nonsense and duality, where you could just say, I'm just gonna observe and feel this through my emotional body, and not attach a judgment to it. And that came from ancient yogic wisdom when I was reading a book by, who was it by? Krishnamacharya, and was the other guy that he was, Iyengar. That's who it was. Iyengar. I was reading his book, Light on Ashtanga Yoga, and talking about Purusha, the observer, and how just observing and not judging, non-judgment, is a path to enlightenment. And since I've read that, I've been so much more happy because I'm no longer being like, even subtle judgments of, oh, that's good, that's bad, that's happy, that's sad. It's just this sort of Zen empty space that just feels good. Good isn't even the right word. I mean, English doesn't really have, it's not a very emotional language. Like Chinese and Indian, I think, is a bit more emotional, but anyways, it feels like content. I feel content just observing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of different, I would say, commonly used spiritual sort of mindful phrases that come into my mind. And one of them is that sometimes when I'm navigating my relationship with my husband, Bo, we say to each other, if we're in the heat of perhaps a disagreement, we say, well, that's a feeling, not a fact. We say that to each other. So how would you feel about, what are your thoughts on that? Have you heard that phrase before? That's a feeling, not a fact.
I really like that. I think being a New Yorker, I have more like, I have more blunt way of putting it, probably like, that's your opinion. And opinions aren't fact. So I think that's very similar, and something that I love to have as a nice wisdom foundation is ancient Egyptian proverbs from the hieroglyphs they translated. One of them says, everything's half true. So it's like, I'm not looking to be right anymore. Earlier when I was a teenager or a kid, I want to be right. And sometimes maybe I was, but it doesn't matter really. It's what matters is what's beneficial. Like the Hawaiians say pono. And pono is their word for good. But when you talk to a Hawaiian elder, and when I learned Lomi Lomi in the Hawaiian healing arts, pono is like what's good and effective. Like what is going to be effective right now in bringing us both to a state of mutual benefit for each other, for the world, for our little community and all that. So rather than searching for an emotional closure all the time, a lot of people are obsessed with closure, like, oh, well, I'm right, you're wrong. Oh, well, even on the other side, oh yeah, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Rather than seeking the closure, you go into a space of, okay, what is the point here? What is the point that we're getting to? What's our mutual goal? And what's pono? What's right and effective? Rather than what is going to make somebody feel right or wrong. And I think the English language has a sort of downfall linguistically in that regard, because we have, when somebody messes up, they're supposed to say, I'm sorry, which is basically, I'm wrong. I'm a sorry person. I feel sorry. And the other person says, I forgive you. And it's just like this power struggle of like, oh, I open up my vulnerable self to you, oh great one, for being right. Or I'm the right one and you should be bowing down to me. It's so Western. It's so Western, rather than meeting in the middle and saying like, okay, what are we going to do to make this better? Is so much better than I apologize. Like, I apologize means nothing until you have dignity and integrity. Like, until you actually do what you're meant to do to make things better, then saying I'm sorry doesn't mean anything. And that's the beauty of Ho'oponopono, is some Western dude translated as I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. But that's not what it means. Like, in the Hawaiian translation is ho'o, means to amplify or appreciate, like bring something into more quantity and more quality, ho'o. And then pono is what's good, right, and effective. So when somebody's invoking ho'oponopono, the reality of the translation is you come together for apology and sorry, which is the Western translation. You're saying ho'oponopono, I'm going to raise up and amplify what is good and right. And then there's no banter back and forth about who's right, what's right. I'm better, you're worse. I'm worse, you're better. It's just, okay, I'm going to do better, which is so much better than, I'm sorry. Oh, please forgive me. It's like so Western, so Western. The Hawaiians are just like, you better be better next time.
Yeah.
Be better.
Absolutely. It all boils down to action, right? Action and intention. And what are words? Really, what are words? What are the words? They're just sort of fluff. They're just placeholders and fluff. If there's not a true action. What is her name? Lily Tomlin, the actress, I think that's her name. She has that quote, "Forgiveness is giving up all hope for a better past." And so, yeah, I really love that one. Forgiveness is giving up all hope for a better past. I don't need to change what happened yesterday. You know, if it was me, if I'm holding myself responsible, if I was the one who performed the action that was hurtful or harmful in some type of way, then I reflect upon it. I learn from it. I grow from it. I hold myself accountable. I cannot change. I cannot go back in time as it stands and repair that. And then also too, for that other person, they cannot go back in the past and repair that. However, we can continue to move forward into the future. And are you open and willing to commit to the future and to future action and to loving action?
Integrity. So what integrity does for the emotional body is it creates a foundation of trust and stability within one's own psyche. So something that has been coming up for people that I've been helping out is, how can you trust anyone or believe anything if you're not being honest with yourself? So when you come into a space of emotional integrity, where your thoughts, feelings, and match up with your actions and words, then what you have is deeper authenticity. And this is coming from somebody who I had to really work on being authentic, or more reclaiming authenticity, because as kids we're so authentic, no matter, we don't care who feels what, because of what we do authentically. When you start to have deeper integrity, there's something that I like to practice, which is, if I don't feel 100% about a decision, I won't verbally say that I'm going to commit to it. And that helps the emotional angst. Like, it takes away the angst, because if you say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it, but then you're like, oh gosh, can I live up to it? For me, it's just, okay, If it's a maybe, it's a no. If I can maybe go to my friend's party, I'll say, look, I probably can't go, but I'll let you know if I can, or something like that, rather than saying, oh yeah, I might go, instead of putting the yeah in there. Then emotionally, you're putting someone else on the leash where they're saying, okay, good, my friend's going to come, they're going to show up, they're going to be there, and they're going to automatically be optimistic, depending on your integrity's history, your emotional integrity's history. But on your end, it's like, okay, if I don't go, then I'm letting them down. If I do go, then I'm fulfilling some sort of external expectation, and that feels good. Rather than doing any of that, just sticking to your emotional gut feelings and telling people honestly, sometimes, look, I don't know if I could do that or not, or I don't know if I agree with that or not. Because if you just subscribe to everyone's opinions, then it's like this cord that you pulled in all these different directions. When you have emotional honesty and you allow yourself to take away the filters and the masks, then you could really find out also what you really emotionally find joy in. When you take off that emotional filter of what my parents want, or what my society wants, or what the media wants for me is the worst one. Stay away from that one, please, everyone.
Please.
That's a money vacuum. What can we insert into people's mind to soak up the most ratings and boost our Hollywood status? So definitely don't wear that filter. And if you have it, light it on fire in meditation and do whatever you have to get the media out of your head. I'm just going to completely jump ship from what I was just talking about and talk about emotional, mental, mind control, and how we have been programmed,
yes,
think and feel in a certain way. So things like rom-coms, romantic comedies, something that seems so innocent, you have to look at who's producing these, what's the root of it. And also you have to look at if this is social mind control, is it really worth the little amounts of joy that you get from it? So to go into deeper, it doesn't make any sense if you just look at it at a surface level. Oh, he's telling me not to watch rom-coms or Hollywood movies because it's mind control. That sounds stupid. No, I've read in the library books about social hypnosis and mind control because of my desire to help people be more authentic, and because of my desire to have a free and sovereign mind and not be influenced by others' desires that they want to pull me into. So when you look at these things like rom-coms or sitcoms, they utilize certain emotional cues to get you to subscribe to a certain belief pattern. So with our generation in the 90s sort of comedy movies and stuff like that, there was a heavy influence of, oh, whoever can drink the most alcohol at the party is the coolest person and all the ladies love him, and that girl that can hold her beer is like the person on the pedestal. And that's just not reality. It's just the person who drinks the most alcohol is an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people that have terrible things happen in their lives. Whether the most extreme is abuse, and a lot of Native American cultures and indigenous cultures who aren't used to drinking alcohol experience that. Homelessness, all of these things associated with drinking the most alcohol. But like you said, with your memory, with your mental connection, you think of, oh, American Pie, that person, like that movie where they just slam back so much beer with their bros and they're now a god at the party. And it's like, that's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anywhere near reality. And to flip it to a more subtle form of mental emotional control is look at something in rom-coms, like the idea of relationships.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And when somebody cheats in a rom-com, when somebody has kisses or has sex with another partner that they're not in relationship, it's like, oh, the worst thing that could ever happen in the entire universe, and everybody gets so angry and everything gets ripped apart. But that, again, you have to look at it from who you are at an emotionally authentic level, not something somebody has spoon-fed you. Because there's plenty of people in the world that, and scientifically and from all the practical studies about it, most people are a bit more interested in more people sexually than they lead on.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this idea that causes so much fear in people's minds and emotional bodies that, oh, if my partner cheats, it's going to cause this explosion of hatred and envy and all this stuff. And without it even happening, it causes problems. Without it even occurring, it causes problems. And let alone having just somebody feeling, oh, I feel sexually attracted to this person that's not my partner. And that will bring on this immense hammer over the head of somebody who's watched a lot of media or sitcom and all that stuff. And the one more thing I will help everyone liberate their minds and emotional bodies a bit more with, in terms of taking yourself out of the media. The news, if you still watch the news or you still read the mainstream news, that's just ridiculous. I'm not going to go into that. It's funded by billionaires who have an agenda, and it feeds off fear. The more afraid you are, the more ratings they have. So I'm not even going to bother with that. That's just like, come on, people, get with the picture. We've been lied to enough, manipulated enough. The thing I want to talk about is more subtle, more deceptive, more snake-like, is with sitcoms, they have the laugh track, right? The laugh track is this clip of people laughing in the background at a moment that's supposed to be funny. Humans will laugh at anything a group of people is laughing at. If somebody slips on a banana peel in the road and nobody laughs, it's not funny. But if 5 people start cracking up, crying, laughing, everybody else will start feeling that. Now, what they do in sitcoms is they'll say something really socially strange that normally you wouldn't think it's funny. Something really dark, like something like "I'll kill you" is something that comes up in sitcoms. And then there's a laugh track. And then it's like, it's so creepy what's said, but it elicits this desensitivity, this like apathy of, oh, I'm laughing at somebody else's misfortune.
Yes.
Which causes so many other problems and so many other weird dynamics that just like a lot of desensitized youth and adults and elders now, because we've all been exposed to these media outlets, that we just have a weird society, very weird social society, that people are afraid to even talk to a strange random person, even if they're a good person, because there's just all of this input from media causing these outlets that aren't real, they're virtual. It's like the Matrix. Like you said, if somebody's experiencing a memory, even if they've watched it on TV, it doesn't even have to be a physical memory. They've watched this thing on TV and it made them feel a certain way. And that's fake reality. It's staged reality. It's artificial reality. And then they're in a real situation and they don't know how to act like a mature person because they've been manipulated into an alternative reality. So I'd love to hear your take on what are some things coming up for you emotionally about moving forward with our youth. As I'm a parent to be and you and Bo are already parents.
Mm.
How does it feel for you, and what are some of the ways we can lead ourselves out of that darkness? Because it is very dark and there is more technology and more artificial intelligence and more media every day. How can we get more in tune with the real emotional reality of who we are and our emotional energy?
That's a beautiful question, Owen. I will first note and piggyback off of what you're sharing that before TV was ever very much popularized, TV was programming, right? Programming was for a mind control type of intention, and it's documented. It's out there. You can look up, the history, the roots of television as we know it. So that's just one thing that I, keep in mind as I'm watching, and I'm witnessing that too. I witnessed that on, for example, the Disney Channel. When my children are watching, sometimes they watch TV, and some shows are really quite lovely and beautiful, some of these children's shows. But as parents, I think it's our responsibility to observe with them and not, again, just join into that mindless remote control and just allow. It's a children's channel, so let your children watch it. There are tons of commercials that come on that I've noticed recently that are very much of a particular narrative, and they are influencing the children to believe it. It is incredible to me. A lot of what's coming on the Disney Channel is about germs, is about masks, is showing you the proper distance. If you stand on this side of the bed and your friend stands on this side of the bed, that is about 6 feet apart. We need distance. Oh, when I first saw that, I turned it off and I had a conversation. So our twins, boy-girl twins, are now almost 4, so they're still 3. And since they were born, we talk to them. We talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, just like conversations that I would have with other adults. And they are bright and brilliant, and they do understand. I've never been the parent that says, "Oh, no, they don't understand. I'm sorry. No, sorry, sweetheart," to the older children. They don't understand. That's their toy. No, I don't subscribe to that. I clearly communicate with them. And even if they can't find the words, back when they were about 2, around 2-ish, between 1 and 2, when they're finally finding those words and expression communication, I still talk to them as normal human beings. Children are sponges. They are incredible. And so, I am very grateful that we were able to experience this, that we were able to experience a child, let alone 2 children. And in their relationship, we see them using the mindfulness tools or just simple awareness or remembrance that we are experiencing ourselves. So they might get in a fight about something over whatever it is. It could be over a toy. And I step back and I'm allowing them to sort it out themselves, and I'm just simply observing them. And I hear things like, my daughter will say to my son, "Jack, I know that you're a good brother. And so when you're ready, can you ask your heart what's the right thing to do?" They will use those words. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And so, for example, one time she said to him, she said something like, he was very upset and yelling at her, and she said, "Jack, I forgive you. I know that you were just angry. Do you need some love? Are you
Mm.
needing love right now? And that's, brings me to another conversation in regards to emotional energy and feelings is again, A Course in Miracles shares and invites you to consider that only love is real. That right there, even if there's love and fear, that fear is simply a call for love. So when you are experiencing navigating something like anger, when she is experiencing and navigating something like anger, or vice versa in their relationship, they can see past it to what it really is. It's a simple call for love. Um, and they hold space for each other, and they talk about taking, oh, I just need some space right now. I just want to be sad right now. It's okay to be sad, right? Sometimes I feel a little bit sad, and I say, absolutely. Do you need to be held? Do you need to be hugged? What is it? And we talk about it. We have conversations. So it's vital, it's crucial to connect with and have conversations with the children. These children are so brilliant. These children existing in society right here, right now, are our maybe most clear connections to the natural source of love, to that natural vibration of love. And as we grow, as we literally grow up, we are growing maybe away from, because of all of the external conditioning that we are experiencing. And so that external conditioning and experience doesn't have to be bad. Again, I don't believe in hierarchy of labels. I believe, I can see and sense into non-duality. I can see how something, for example, like sexual trauma in my life actually has been a really beautiful lesson, and also gifted me opportunity for growth and deeper healing. And maybe that's a conversation for another day. But I'll take it to, for example, I have a relationship in my life. Last summer, in the height of the pandemic, I was holding space for yoga class outdoors in the park. I have a family member very dear to me, close family member since I was born, who reached out and was extremely upset, extremely angry. It sent me more than a paragraph of just venomous anger of how dare I hold space for yoga class, even outdoors. That's so dangerous. I'm so at risk, and those other lives are at risk, and my own family is at risk. And how I would have in the past responded would have been anger back and defense, because I felt victim. Right now, I need to release the guilt of myself. And uh, in that moment, I didn't even read through it. I read the first couple of sentences. I already knew where we were going here. I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and I began to respond. I said, wow, so and so, I hear you. And what I hear is your great love for me, your great love for this world, for this community, for you and our family, for everyone that you know and care for in your own workspace and environment. Wow. What a gift it is to receive your love and your care in this moment. And thank you so much for reaching out with so much love. I didn't say for reaching out with all of your anger. I said with so much love, because I could feel the call for love that was really right there. And in my response, I didn't need to defend myself. I didn't say I'm doing this because I actually believe this. I'm doing this, for whatever. That's all I said back. And there was a response back that was beautiful, that I have never received from this family member ever before. This family member in the past maybe had been quite emotional in different ways. And, and it was very loving. It was very loving. I met that call for love with the love that they were reaching out for. And the response then, it was like, call for love plus love equals love. Call for love plus another call for love equals more, even more. It's amplifying that call for love, that fear, that anger. It's just raising that vibration. So by again, it's just this, like, it's it takes practice and application and really zooming out, becoming the observer, like you stated, connecting with that, yes, Purusha, high self, inner wisdom, this other aspect of your being that is not just form, that is also formlessness, and remembering, literally remembering, reconfiguring every cell of your body during an emotional experience to understand that only love is real. So that being said, we teach our children that. And I think that is how, you move forward. And the children are so incredibly important. They're going to be children. They're going to experience some maybe similar things that you might have experienced, that I experienced. They're going to experience some of the influence. They're going to figure out and find their own way. They need to stumble and trip up so that they can do that. I do believe that discomfort is a catalyst for growth. And so I cannot stop and save them from everything. However, I can build a foundation, cultivate a foundation, allow for a sacred space, a neutral space of simple love. Yeah.
What you just said is gonna change my life, because that's actually something that I've been working on remembering how to do. Because when you talked about that person sending you all that fear and hate as a call for love, whether it's because I'm from New York and it's my nature from that, or whether it's my soul's nature's like this, my natural reaction is just like okay, you chose hate over love, so pop off, I don't care anymore. But obviously that hasn't served me in the best of ways. I mean, sometimes it gets people like, oh, okay, I better like rethink things a bit. But that's just such a high wisdom to be able to say, oh, recognize, oh, I see that this is a call for love, and that underneath that is love. So thank you for that. And it's not subscribing to I'm anti this or pro that, or you're hate, I'm love. It's just, oh, I see you're struggling a bit. And ultimately, behind my FU, why are you choosing low vibes? Why are you subscribing to the fear machine? Underneath that is, I love you and care about you so much. Why are you choosing hate? Why are you choosing things that hurt you? Why are you choosing bad health habits or alcohol or things that are lowering their quality of life? Behind my agitation with people or blunt attitude is like, I really love and care about you genuinely and want you to have a good experience of life. But for me, sometimes it comes off emotionally as like, F you, why are you doing that dumb stuff? Why don't you discipline yourself more? Why are you acting like a kid? Why are you acting like a teenager? There's a lot of things. So I guess I'm trying to be like people's dads, which to be a better dad for everyone, I can say, oh, I recognize that beneath that fear you have deep love, or beneath that hate you're insecure and you need some love. And that's a more gentle way of putting it, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can take it even one step further, right? One step further would be, now I go back and I actually reread that paragraph plus of whatever it was, the insight, the wisdom that that person had to share with me, that was the reasoning behind why what I was doing was wrong, and apply it, try it on, sift through it, and find maybe find one thing that I might be able to resonate with and maybe grow with and learn from, because I do also believe that we all have it a little bit right. I'm not here to like spiritually bypass everything that was shared with me. First, I need to take care of me and my internal landscape and build a foundation that is going to be supportive of this, of navigating that relationship. So in that, understanding what was behind everything that was spewed at me as a call for love, that puts me in the proper place and state so that I can now receive the words without absorbing the words, right? And receive the emotion without absorbing the emotion. And then, yeah, maybe try it on, right? I think that's very important too, this integral theory.
Yeah, and that's for people who are really naturally empathetic, it's really easy to do that. So with that being said, I'm actually going to flip that and say the opposite, play angel's advocate. Is that for somebody who's really emotionally sensitive, it's really important to have a strong aura. Now, what is your aura? Your aura is your personal energy, your personal little blip that's connected to all these other donuts of toroidal torus energy, it's called, this electromagnetic field. So if somebody else is feeling something I don't want to feel, I can establish a presence in my own electromagnetic field, my aura, 2 words for the same thing: love, peace, and prosperity. That's what I want to feel right now: love, peace, and prosperity. So in establishing that, I've found that through Qigong especially, the alchemy of keeping external hate, external bondage, external slavery, external expectations, judgments, all of these things that you know in your heart is bad for your health, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. Keeping that at bay before it hits your body. Because for the unawakened person, and I say unawakened not in a judgmental way, I mean like unawakened, like you're not awake or aware to the fact that you have this emotional energy, that the vibration of somebody that's in front of you, literally, you don't even have to say anything. You could have your eyes closed and you could still feel them. You could feel them. So to the unawakened person, your aura is here. Your aura is right on your skin. It's not, it's pulsing up and outwards depending on your emotional state. But if you're not constantly cultivating and becoming aware of this beautiful electromagnetic field around you, you can't even differentiate what's somebody else's emotion and what's your emotion. And it's so hard for people because they'll someone living in the city will be feeling the grief and loss of somebody who just had their family member die of suicide. And they don't know that it's not their feeling. And they have to struggle with all of this unnecessary suffering because they subscribe to somebody else's energy. So a really brief, and I'm not going to even do any fluffy guided meditation or demonstration, but a really easy practice to experience your own aura, your own electromagnetic field, is just feel around and feel where your energy is. What's it like? And what my Ecuadorian friend who connected with some shamans told me is that you go up to a tree or you go up to a person, you could, or anything for that matter, when you feel a pushback on your hand, that's where the energy is. That's where the aura is. So a really beautiful, simple Qigong practice is to just feel your own aura for a bit and feel around you, feel into how expansive or how small is your space. When people live a very mechanical life, their aura is probably right here. And they could push and not feel any pushback until they get here. For me, my aura is about like here, about like half arm's length. as of right now. And I can stretch that out a little bit with practice, with different emotions. But I feel really strongly, especially I had this really deep meditative experience where I had this really, really beautiful vision of what's the reality of transmutation, or transforming the energies of hate and suffering before they hit my body. And what I saw in this deep meditation was I was a bald monk with a beautiful robe in this sort of temple that was very otherworldly, and around me was Hebrew script, and there was also Sanskrit, and there was all these letters which represented my aura, and there was this aura around me, and all of the negativity and hatred externally that we can feel for as far as we want to, really, was coming in as this sort of gnarly, squidgy black weirdness. And it would hit my golden letters around me, the light language, and it would transform and transfigure itself into a Hebrew or Sanskrit letter in rainbow color, and then zoom outwards. And so that's a really advanced, I don't know if I pissed off any Tibetan elders or anything by sharing that, but basically your emotion is a light language. Your emotional energy is a light language. And if you don't want to feel hate, don't take it on. Don't even let it hit your body. Let it hit your peace and love, and transform it and send it back out as peace and love. And I think that's all I have in the tank for today's tea and chi talk. I drank so much tea I have to pee now as well. So.
Beautiful. Thank you, Owen. Thank you for your time. One last tidbit I would love to share in conclusion of this particular chat is just simply be gentle with yourself. Sweet family, be gentle with yourself along this path, along these practices, in every experience, in every way. We are all truly doing the best that we can with the awareness that we have in every given moment. Our bodies are always going through different rhythm states, right? And there are three main ones that stand out that we talk about, and that's infradian, circadian, and ultradian rhythm states. Infradian is everything less than 24 hours in a time clock. And then circadian is what you experience within a 24-hour time clock. And then ultradian could be something like, if you're, a female, your menstrual cycle, right? That is beyond the 24-hour time clock, and it occurs over a week span within a particular month, and it's repetitive. So we go through these different cycles, and in and amongst them, we're truly doing the best that we can with the awareness that we have. So when you're feeling into these different emotions and you're practicing observing them, some days you might feel quite successful. Some days you might have a great epiphany and a click and a light bulb goes off. And then some days it might be a little bit harder, and that's okay. Everything that you're doing is totally okay and perfect. And this is why we're here. And this is why we're having these conversations, because Owen, like myself, deeply love each and every one of you all, of us, of ourselves, of all of us in existence and non-existence through time and timelessness. We truly love. And so please feel free to reach out to one of us.
There we go. Thank you so much, Cassidy, for joining. We're going to have her wonderful husband, Bo, on the show tomorrow. And everyone watching this, just have a beautiful, wonderful night or day, where people all over the planet, the sun does that thing where it goes.
Love all.
Love you so much. Big aloha, big love and kindness to you and your family. And may everyone watching this experience happiness in some way and deep love in their heart.